Hi, my name is Addison Cosgrove, and today I will be talking about how children in foster care experience mental vulnerability. For some context, many children enter the foster care system every year, and foster care is a saving grace for many children. However, children in foster care experience mental vulnerability because of the poor and unfair treatment they receive, a constant starting over process, absence of a parental figure, and lack of self-worth. My two stimuli sources I chose were Simone Biles and The Most Human Meaning of Courage, and Eloise Cabell, A Small Measure of Justice. I chose these stimuli sources because both stimuli sources represented someone speaking about a controversial topic, and that made me relate to foster children because while these individuals were speaking about whatever topic they chose to talk about, they were having to go outside of their comfort zone and speak about something that nobody else wanted to speak about, which put them in a position where they could be potentially harmed or attacked, which is essentially the definition of vulnerability. And these children in foster care do the same thing when they're going from home to home and don't know what to expect or what the parents may think or the siblings may think of them. And so they're going through this constant vulnerability process of being moved from one location to another in new environments. So my research question was, to what extent do children in foster care experience mental vulnerability? My first perspective was on the poor and unfair treatment in foster care the children in foster care receive. So first of all, children in foster care experience poor treatment all the time because of their backgrounds and living situations, not only in foster care but before foster care, but also because, as Shepard states, children in foster care don't always get their basic human needs met, which means that these children are having to learn to live without something that everybody else has, or something that they essentially need to live, such as running water, food, etc. But also, if a child doesn't have a water bottle or a t-shirt at school that everybody else at school has, they're maybe look differently upon their peers and their teachers, which causes distress on the child. Secondly, children in foster care experience unfair treatment all the time because of their race, gender, and age, not only from parental figures or possible parental figures, but their peers and Child Protective Services. They are discriminated against, especially from Child Protective Service, because if a child is of a certain race and a Child Protective Service professional feels like a child may not fit into a home because they are of this race or this age or this gender, then this child is going to have to live with knowing that family wouldn't accept them because of their race or gender, which they can't change. My second perspective was on how children in foster care go through a constant starting over process, absence of a parental figure, and lack of self-worth. So children in foster care experience the constant starting over process from moving from home to home, which causes problems and issues with attachment and detachment, and having to acclimate to new surroundings. It's more difficult for them because they are going from one place to another, and never know when they may be switched to a different home or new environment, which makes it hard for a child to feel comfortable. Secondly, children need a primary caregiver and a parental figure, as American Academy of Pediatricians says, but not only because it's essential to brain development, but emotional development and growing as a person and having someone to go to when they don't know what to do or when they need guidance or reassurance. And lastly, children experience a lack of self-worth because of the discrimination they receive and because they're looked at differently because they may not have a parental figure or they may not have something that everybody else has, or because they might be of a certain race or a certain gender or maybe younger or older. And these children have to live with the rest of their life knowing that they may not be accepted because of something they have no control over, such as their race, gender, or age. So some limitations are the child's past experiences and trauma. Unfortunately, we can't change what a child has gone through, but we can help them cope and by possibly giving them a parental figure that they can trust to help move on from their past experiences. And we can't change a child's race, gender, age, as I already stated. And because we can't change a child's race, gender, age, we can't change the discriminations people may have against them because of it. However, we can help a child be removed from a situation where discrimination may be present. So, in all, children in foster care experience mental vulnerability because of this constant starting over process, absence of a parental figure, lack of self-worth, and the unfair and poor treatment they receive in foster care. And so this also plays a negative effect on a child's mental health because they receive anxiety, neglect, poor view of self-worth, and social setbacks. However, foster care is still a good thing. Foster care gives children a place to sleep, food to eat, and somewhere to live, which is the overall goal of foster care, and that's the main goal that every child wants to receive. But it also gives children the hope to find someone that can be a parental figure and can look after them. So with that being said, in all, children in foster care experience mental vulnerability. However, foster care is a saving grace for many children. Here are my sources. Thank you. Any questions?
Nice job. So here are your oral defense questions. What evidence did you gather that you did not include, and why did you choose not to include it?
So I've started doing research on how foster care first became a thing and how it first developed, and I really thought that would help solidify my argument to see how foster care has either increased or decreased in like the treatment that children receive and the overall priority of these children. However, I chose not to include it because no matter what time or how long foster care had been around, children received this poor treatment and experienced mental vulnerability the whole time. It was always present. It was never an increase or a decrease. It was constant throughout.
Nice. And then finally, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
My research question changed because I first wanted to start really specific, maybe start with a certain age, like 10 of children in foster care. However, I was doing my research and I couldn't find much on a certain age group or a certain race or gender, so I had to make my question more broad in order to get more data on how children experience mental vulnerability, because there was no research on just one certain type of child in one certain type of living situation.
Excellent.